Welcome back to 20 Minutes or Less. I'm Elliot Morgan.
And I am Joe Beretta.
While campaigning along Florida's Space Coast, an area that has been largely affected by the recession and the fact that the shuttle program is dead, Newt Gingrich promised that by the end of his second term, there would be a permanent base on the moon. This base would act as a source for tourism and manufacturing and science, and I know what you're thinking, but this was definitely not one of those campaign promises that presidential candidates make all the time.
Yeah, now some might say that Newt was just pandering to the economic woes of the Florida Space Coast, but we know that he wasn't. You know how we know that he wasn't? Because he said he wasn't. And as we all know, politicians are vessels for truth.
Okay, so it's tempting to make fun of Newt Gingrich, but what he wants to do is take money from NASA and give it to private companies who will build this equipment, which would lessen the burden on the American people.
It's kind of a cool idea. Take the taxes, turn them into prizes. Newt went on to say the invigorated space program would draw people to Florida's Space Coast. He said, quote, "Because it's exciting and it's dynamic and who knows what next week is going to be like. Does that mean I'm a visionary? You betcha.
You betcha.
You betcha." He said, "You betcha."
Those were the words he used.
You betcha.
It's also worth noting that since the shuttle program is dead, American astronauts literally have to carpool with Russia. This costs $60 million per astronaut.
Now, as a country, we're going through some hard times economically, and that can kind of make us a cynical people. So Newt was criticized for what was called a grandiose vision of the future. He said this in response to his critics. "I just want you to know, Lincoln standing at Council Bluffs was grandiose. The Wright brothers going down to Kitty Hawk was grandiose. John F. Kennedy saying we'll get to the moon in 8 years was grandiose. I accept the charge that I am an American, and Americans are instinctively grandiose, because we believe in a bigger future."
You betcha.
You betcha.
Personally, I found it extremely sad when the shuttle program ended. I grew up in Florida, I went to space camp, I watched shuttles being launched, and it was awesome, and it sucks that it's over. What's happening now is there's a history that's becoming just that, a history. It sucks. It also sucks that every 4 years we have another president that makes all of these lofty claims. I genuinely hope this happens.
Me too. I mean, I didn't get to go to space camp when I was a kid because we were poor. Thanks for taking me back to the dark place.
You're welcome.
But childhood Joe wasn't afraid to look out the window at night with wonderment and amazement. And adult Joe loves books like The Sparrow and Ender's Game and movies like Moon. So good.
Such a good movie.
So I'd love for our space program to get a little bit of a kick in the pants. I think it's incredibly important for us to gain a better understanding of the universe around us, and I find it inspiring when our leaders encourage us to dream a little bit bigger. Whether or not Newt gets elected, I hope his enthusiasm catches on.
I agree, Joe. Do you guys think that a base on the moon is a good idea in a time of economic uncertainty? Or do you think it should continue to be on the back burner? I'm Elliot Morgan.
I'm Joe Beretta. Do the YouTube thing and like and subscribe.
Click the annotation, keep checking back for more stories throughout the day.
And download that Philly D app for instant updates.